Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It's Wednesday, so that, of course, means it is time for the midweek fix. I need to switch my light on, otherwise I look like a ghost. There you go, look at that. Just looks so much better instantly there. It's midweek fix. We're going to talk a little bit about Everton, maybe look ahead to Brentford, although I do feel it will be just absolutely jam-packed transfer chat. So get your thoughts in the comments, all that stuff. I don't know if someone's switched on... switched on an aeroplane there for a second. What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Max's computer.
I was going to say something went next level. But yeah, it is time for the midweek fix. Lewis is on his way, but let's get into it, folks. Let's start.
I don't think I do it.
Arsenal started like a house on fire. Signing number 2 for this new era. It's Judgment Day, people. Yeah! What did your boy tell you? It was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Don't believe in any luck. I believe I'm self-made, yeah. Right, there we go. Yeah, keep it locked as is always the case. I've seen people put on balaclavas on YouTube when they're getting absolutely grilled, but JT puts on his goggles.
On the goggles.
JT, we were chatting just off air there. I believe you were trying to defend Angus Kinnear's comments. Do you want to allude some more?
I think the guy made a fair point, did he not? He did. I mean, if you actually look at the facts, I'm not even trying to be controversial here. I think we should sign a striker, but 3 fit strikers that are, two international strikers. You got Patrick Bamford and you got Rodrigo Moreno. Moreno, who is on for a Ballon d'Or, unfortunately got injured, so that's not going to happen anymore. Bamford, who when is fit, is actually one of the best strikers in the league, and you can't try and tell me that any of these strikers are actually better than a fully fit Patrick Bamford, aside from maybe an Ivan Toney and the people playing for the top 6. So he's got a point there. Then you've got Joe Gelhardt. What youngster in Europe or youngster in England definitely was showing as much potential as him? I can't think of one. Now, obviously, the reason why I do think that he's messed up a little bit is because we've got injuries now. We've got Bamford, who can't stay fit, who's got like half a leg. You've got Rodrigo now, who's out. But what he did say is, I don't want to sign some Mickey Mouse player. The only reason I'll sign a player is if the real deal comes along. We're not interested in making some make-way signing, which is what I was saying. Like, why would you want to go and get a Che Adams if he's not going to improve the squad? Yeah, he'll be a little bit of backup, but is he leaps and bounds ahead of Joe Gelhardt? I mean, on yesterday's performance, maybe you could argue that he is. But do we need someone for 3 to 4 months? Is that really going to help kick us on as a club? Or should we wait another year or another 6 months and wait until the next transfer window and get someone that's actually going to kick us on in the long term?
Max, do you have a response?
He's just shell-shocked by facts.
No. If the thing is about this, it's one big if, and it's if the strikers can stay fit, but they can't, and that's there you go. That's the exact point, is that they can't stay fit, and even Gelhardt can't stay fit. He's injured for a couple of weeks, and he's back. He's injured for a week again. He's always got these annoying little injuries that keep him out for not a massive amount of time, but for enough time to think, right, who the hell are we going to play up front? Rodrigo's now been injured as well. Bamford played a little bit, but who's to say on Saturday he'll play and get injured again? Like, you need to think about who you're signing as well. Someone that hasn't been injured a lot over the last couple of seasons, because you just need someone who can consistently play in that role, at least at the bare minimum. Someone who actually plays in the role and doesn't get injured all the time.
Yeah, the camera's freezing more than Lorente. What's going on over there?
Yeah, it's all a bit of a mad one. Do you know what? I've done this to death. I've had arguments, debates with people in the comments and people off this, and for me, we have to get someone in to be a fail-safe. I understand your logic, JT, in saying that let's go and wait for the right one next summer. For me, we need a new number 9 next summer anyway, because Bamford at that point he'll be on his way to retirement home. His bones will be giving up on him. And for me, we need someone to cover us in that interim. If Bamford stays fit, amazing. Like last night when he came on, he impacted that game no end. He was able to bring the ball out of the sky, bring it down with his chest, bring others into play, all these different facets to his game. But the facts are, and like Tony O'Shea here, who agreed with you earlier and disagrees what I have to say, and that's fine because it's an open forum. He said Lord Bamford will come good. He already is good, but he's just made of biscuits. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. My concern is what I'm saying. We have to So we have to act now, because if we don't act now, the window's shut in less than 24 hours. And if something happens, then we're knacked. We're knacked. We cannot conceivably accept Dan James playing up top, which it could happen. It could happen, and we shouldn't be in that situation again.
It's
we've got other options in front of him. We've got Sonny Perkins, we've got Joe
JT,
Gelhardt, we've got Rodrigo Moreno. You're telling me all four
No.
of them?
No, right, okay, sorry. Just to come back to you quickly. I'm factoring into that the fact that Rodrigo's going to be out for a long layoff because he's dislocated his shoulder. Yeah, so he's going to be out for a while.
Pop it back into place, man.
He's going to be out for a while. Gelhardt, for me, can't lead the line for us. Personally, I don't think he's quite ready for that role. We've seen that, I think. We've seen it against Barnes. We've seen it last night. Don't know if he's the right profile of striker. And for me, Sonny Perkins and Mateo Joseph shouldn't be anywhere near the first team.
Yeah, no. I get you. But are they more likely? Is Gelhardt more likely to start up front than Dan James? Yes. But Dan James might be on his way out of the door.
If he can stay fit, is the major thing with Joffy. He could do a decent job for us there, but he doesn't stay fit enough. And last night with Rodrigo getting injured, that should be the big warning sign for the board to say, look, another player has just got injured. Like, we need an extra
striker. It was the warning sign, though. We just bid for Hwang and it got rejected.
Yeah, but now it seems like they're like, right, well, we're not interested anymore.
No, they said they're still interested. They're still looking at Gakpo. They're still looking at Gakpo and Hwang, apparently, according to your man Fabrizio Romano. If they're saying Dan James might be on his way out, and they're looking at Hwang. They bid for Hwang, got rejected, and they're looking at Gakpo.
So apparently Southampton have had a bid accepted of £30 million for Gakpo.
Now that's a disgrace. Now that is a disgrace. How can we let Southampton outbid us for Gakpo? Now that is a disgrace.
Well, this is the point. Lewis, you've just joined us. Talk to me about the current situation, what your mood is. I'm pissed off, bro. It's a culmination of Angus's comments in the programme and then everything else. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. And
same.
Yeah, go on, Luke. Give us your thoughts.
It's like three different things. You've got Angus saying one thing that, we're likely not going to bring anyone in because we can't find the right player or whatever, but if the opportunity arises. Then you've got Marsch saying in the post-match that he really likes Hwang. So they're two conflicting statements. And then today you've got the Gakpo thing, which we've been beaten to by a worse team, a smaller club, hands down, for more money than apparently we're willing to pay, even though we were willing to pay 40 million for De Ketelaere.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole thing of James going on loan, which makes no sense whatsoever. Because if we're going to offload James, get some money. I don't care if it's 10, 15, 20 million. I should have gone 20, 15, 10. But you get what I mean. Why loan him? It's not like he's 19 and he needs experience. He can run fast. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And Gakpo has just scored, by the way. Literally, Gakpo's just scored for PSV.
So, if he goes to Southampton above us...
What I don't understand is... we were willing to spend that money on De Ketelaere. To me, Gakpo is a more proven and better prospect, and we're not willing to spend the money on him. I understand saying, oh, well, maybe 20 million is too much for Hwang, so we'll pull out of that one because he's not worth that much money. But for somebody like Cody Gakpo, his ceiling is way up there. And if we were to sign him, we'd have signed two of the best players in the Eredivisie last season. Two of the best young talents around in Europe. It shows a clear intent of where the club wants to go. But just the main thing for me is if we were ready to spend 40 million or 35 million on Charles de Ketelaere, why wouldn't we then spend 25 million, 30 million on Cody Gakpo, who to me, he looks unbelievable. Like, so.
Like, David, just to put it out there, lad, David Ornstein's just tweeted out literally 1 minute ago, again, top tier, said Cody Gakpo race is still open. Leeds United, Southampton, lucrative new deal at PSV. No issue for Saints on fee or personal terms. Leeds interested if Dan James leaves, right? Yeah. Why does it matter whether or not Dan James is?
Yeah, it doesn't. This is what I don't understand. If it
wages.
Was the case,
money in it, money needed to sell.
Yeah, but they were willing to buy de Ketelaere with Dan James staying. So why wouldn't they be with so the club must have said to the 49ers or whoever they were getting the money from that, look, we want this much money for Charles de Ketelaere. This is what he is. This is how good we think he can be. And so they'd agreed that they would give that much money because the club had agreed a deal with Bruges. So for Gakpo, I don't understand why the club couldn't also agree that he's such a good, promising talent that the outlay of money is reasonable for what you're actually getting back. Why do we have to sell a player to do that?
I personally think that we can utilise James. I think we can utilise him. I don't think he starts, but I think we can.
Where though, bro? Can I ask you a question?
We can utilise him, but that's a different argument.
I think he's a good option on the bench, right? I don't think he starts. But
let me put this to you though, Lewis. Tell me what he did last night when he came on the pitch. Because Bamford affected the game, Matthias Klick affected the game, Joe Gelhardt affected the game, James. Yeah. I bear to know even how many touches he had, bro.
I actually think that's Marsch's fault last night. I was
Wrong
saying
position for a start. I said,
yeah.
Me and Max were saying to each other as soon as they come on. We were stood next to each other. It doesn't make any sense. This is what the third time he's played up front already this season. Why? But I think he is a player we can utilise. I couldn't sit here and tell you how or where. But I think
utilise everyone. That's what I was
gonna say though, Lewis. The issue that we had last night was breaking down a team who sit deep at the back. Dan James, his prime skill, his best ability is his pace, and he's not great at anything else, right? So to me,
that's harsh. He's a good dribbler.
He's a dangerous substitute though against a team who comes out and attacks you and leaves space in behind. Yeah. Teams who are a bit higher up the table maybe, or just teams who are a bit more ambitious with the ball. So even when you play Man City, teams like that who play high up the pitch, if there's space in behind them and you've got somebody like Rocker who can ping a ball, then Dan James is pretty dangerous then because he's got space to run into and behind. When we're on the edge of Everton's box for 40 minutes trying to break them down, Dan James is going to do nothing because he's got no space to run into, and because his main thing is his pace. I think it's a bad substitution from Marsch to bring him on in that game because I just think there was no way he was ever going to be able to affect it.
But this is where
he's got good delivery on him.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. That's
there's been plenty of times he's put good balls in. He put a good cross in for our third goal against Chelsea. He put a great cross in for Brisbane Roar in pre-season.
What
about the pre-season one? Brisbane Roar, right foot, bang, right into the path of Joffrey, back sticks, beautiful. It doesn't matter. It's still a good cross.
He's got it in him. I think what I'm trying to say is we can utilise him. He does have talent, but what I don't get is I think we can utilise him. But clearly, Marsch doesn't think that, right? If he's not part of the plans, if this whole loan rumour is true, then he can't be that important to the plans. And therefore, if he isn't part of the plans, why loan him out?
No, but I don't think that's the point. The point is he doesn't fit the forward position. The point is Dan James can can do a job out wide, but we want to swap him for a player who can do a job out wide, but also fill in up front if needed. Dan James cannot fill in up front. Now, the whole thing with this Gakpo thing is he can do both. He's a lot taller. He can fill in up front, and he's got a higher ceiling.
Then why
now,
not
the
just
reason
sell
we're
is
not...
what I'm saying. Why not?
Yeah, no. So you're reading too much into the loan, Lewis.
Be a loan to buy, I think.
If James goes out on loan, he won't play for Leeds again. Like, it's just the way it's structured. No. It's just the way it's structured. Like Tottenham will say, we'll take him on loan.
Same with Costa, basically.
Yeah, so he isn't coming back to Leeds. This isn't like a loan and bring him back.
Then
like
why
Spurs
not sell now?
Yeah,
because clubs can't buy now because it's too late.
And
if it's only Spurs that are in for him, then it's likely that's a them issue. If you get what I mean, like they probably have said, right, we don't want to spend any more money this transfer window because we might go over our net spend or whatever we're supposed to be spending. So they'll say,
I thought
let's push that back. No. I'm assuming that's just that. I'm sure that's just the way they want to structure the deal if they're to get it done. But to me, I don't see what. If I was a Spurs fan, I wouldn't see what they really get out of Dan James because he would just be a bench warmer.
Yeah, but this is the point. So from a Spurs perspective, I think whoever it was who made the great point about our system not being to his strengths, I think with Dan James, he stretches the play. Like at the weekend, what they're looking for, they've got a Champions League squad. They're in the Champions League. They're fighting on all fronts. At the weekend, they had to bring on Jed Spence to come on for Kulusevski because they have no one to fill in for that right spot. I think your man Lucas Moura might be leaving. Brian Gill's just gone out on loan. So bringing Dan James fills in that spot. He'll probably play like 10, 15 minutes each game. He might start in the Champions League in a dead rubber. He's not going to get a lot of game time at Spurs, but I don't think he'll get a lot at Leeds, to be honest. I can understand why that would be an attractive prospect for him. And if you think about how their front three play, he would suit their system more than what he currently...
He'd probably play wing back over there.
No, they've got Jed Spence.
That's where they've been playing Lucas Moura is as a wing back.
Yeah,
and that's why they probably put Dan James in.
If we're going to do that, though, then it should be obligation to buy, not...
it will be an obligation to buy. But can I say, they're putting him in a really shady situation here. The club are really screwing over Dan James, in my opinion, and I don't think it's a classy way of doing it. They've basically said, if you want to stay, you can stay. But if you want to go, make your decision in the next 2 hours, sunshine.
Yeah. So I actually got a message off someone. I don't know if he was, I don't know. But I got someone who said that basically James is being touted out. This isn't as such as, we want him. I think it's a case of, we need a striker. Who are we willing to sacrifice? We're willing to sacrifice Dan James. That's what it looks like. Although the rhetoric is, we're happy. But if you look at all the tweets, it's like, Leeds want to do a deal, but only if Dan James leaves. Like, Dan James, leave. Dan James, leave. That's what, for me, it feels like. I think
it makes it look like they're trying to make the fans push him towards that decision as well. Like, if they're basically... Because we know that sometimes clubs leak stuff like this, don't they, on purpose to gauge reaction and all this sort of thing. It almost looks like they're like, right, well, if we put something about Dan James leaving out there, Leeds fans, we don't have to then say to Dan James directly, go. But Dan James will see on social media and everything that everybody, if they've kind of put in it like Dan James and a striker, and you've got to pick. So everybody's going to pick the striker. So it's making all Leeds fans go, get rid of Dan James.
It's not fair on him, is it? It's not fair on him.
Yeah, but
I don't think he cares. Though. Do you think he's going to be? Do you think he's going to be refreshing his Twitter feed and really giving a rat's ass about what some faceless geezer says about?
You'd be surprised.
I was going to say you'd be really, mate. You'd be surprised.
You would.
No,
he's not listen to
the first thing a lot of players do. Yeah,
Ben Foster's talked about before on his podcast some of the young players and how they do look at social media a lot, and he sometimes has to get in their ear and say, mate, just stop looking at that. Like, it's never going to help. But for me...
Cooper responded to a tweet to someone that he weren't even tagged in before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not going to be coming... He's not going to choose his career on it. He's not going to be forced to leave the club because of a couple of...
The first thing a lot of players do after a game is search their own name.
No, I know.
Like,
because every human's vain, so everyone wants to do it. I'm sure your search history is filled with Lewis Deaton.
Jag says the Rafinha money should be received from Barcelona on the 1st of September, so Leeds should have funds. Not sure if the transfer window will still be open. Well, it closes tomorrow, but yes, that money from Barcelona. But that money from Barcelona has already been factored into. Like a lot of people are saying, like, oh, the reason we aren't doing deals is because we haven't got that money. That's already factored in.
That's been spent, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's already been spent. Like the money we're actually in a profit this season.
Books will be balanced.
Net spend. Yeah, the books are balanced. So,
But the thing is, we have to make the deal done today if we're going to go Gakpo, because the Eredivisie market shuts today. It doesn't shut tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's only the deal that needs to be the deal that needs to be agreed for them by the end of today. That's all. We can still make the transfer tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's a weird one this though, because if we were to get Hwang and get rid of Dan James, I don't think that's as good of a deal. I think it's only worth it if we to get somebody like Gakpo, somebody really good, who's actually definitely a better player than Dan James. It's only worth it then if we were to get Hwang. Like I said in a video the other day that I'd take him. He's not fantastic, but I would take him as an extra body in there. But he's not been great over the last couple of years. And if it means getting rid of Dan James as well, then I wouldn't be happy with that, I don't think. Because I think Dan
much
James
of a muchness, aren't
more
they?
of an asset.
Who?
Hwang.
He's streets ahead of Dan James.
No, he's not streets ahead of Dan James, man.
He is.
What does he offer that Dan
in the
James
league last
doesn't?
season.
Name me one quality he offers that Dan James doesn't. Or two, actually.
He can hold up the ball.
He can hold up
that's
the ball
actually.
Dan
You
James.
mentioned Joe. You mentioned Joe
Yes.
that when Bamford came on, he really improved us, and it was his hold up play. Like they were able to send a ball up to him, and he was able to back into a defender, bring the ball down, and bring players in around him. And it was like, oh my god, I forgot that this was a thing. I forgot that this was part of football, that you could actually have a player holding the ball up. And some like Gakpo, maybe it's not his best attribute, but he's a bit taller, he's a bit bigger, a bit more physical than especially people like Dan James, who we played up front before.
He scored again. He's got 5 in 4. He's got 5 in 4. He's got 5 in 4.
His price just goes up by $1 million.
This is what I'm saying. PSV are going like this. Well done, Cody.
The thing is, though, if we're serious, right, we will swoop in last minute and offer 35, 40 million. If we are serious, and I personally think that's too much money. I do. I think 30 million is probably around max.
Wait, that's too much money. Hang on a second. How much did Anthony go for?
100.
Yeah, but mate, you talking?
How much did he go for? How much is flipping Anthony Gordon 60 million, and you're telling me 35 million for Gakpo is too much?
Yeah, but he's not been sold for 60 million. It's just
no, but they're pricing him at 60 million.
Yeah,
if he goes, he's sure.
Bid 30 million. There's a difference between bidding and saying what someone's worth. Chelsea didn't bid 60 million for Gordon.
No, but the bid has been accepted. They're waiting for PSV to decide on him.
That's what I'm saying. So if this bid's been accepted, right, and again, Joe talks about news being leaked, there'll be a reason for that as well. Because PSV will want this little bidding war. They will want Leeds to counter that and see how much money they can get. Of course, they're going to want that. But that also depends on where Gakpo wants to go. Now, if it's a choice between Leeds and Southampton, obviously I'm going to be like, why are you not choosing Leeds? But he might have his own reasons. It might be wage, whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
Did you I seen this earlier, right? And I sort of hate to have to do it because I feel harsh in it, right? But Dan James, statistically, right? Did you see this? You've seen it?
He's world class?
No. So he's calculated strengths and weaknesses, right? On who scored. It says player has no significant strengths. He is poor at crossing, discipline, passing, area duels, and defensive contribution. Like and genuinely, I don't understand why
discipline.
people. Yeah, well, I mean,
I think that's harsh. I do think that's harsh.
It's very harsh. The guy starts off the press. He's a physical beast. He's always getting in your face. He's winning ball backs quickly. He's a pressing machine.
No significant strengths is a bit.
Well, he can run fast. He can run fast.
He's a good dribbler. He's good at getting. He's good at ball progression. He is good at getting the ball up the pitch. Whatever you say about him. Yes, he is a good dribbler.
He's too
So
weak
tell
to
me
be
the
a good
last time he
dribbler.
took someone on.
Last night,
The last time he
had
took
the
someone
ball
on, I
the
can
right-hand
think vividly
side.
He's got
against
no-
Chelsea. He was
he's got-
picking the ball up from deep and he was running.
Control of that football, man. It's a
He's
kick
got
and
no
run, man.
significant.
No, it's not a kick and run.
strength.
That's absolute load of fraudulence.
No,
I've
it
seen
is.
many times where he gets it on his chest, flicks it over someone's head. I've seen that a good few times.
You
The
been playing
guy is
FIFA again?
skillful. I'm not playing FIFA. I'm telling you, the guy. You guys are being harsh saying he has no strengths. The guy wins the ball back. I mean, that goal against Chelsea, the first one, wouldn't have happened if Dan James wasn't on him like a rash that he couldn't get rid of. Bang, straight, bang
I'd
on him.
pick him
2
if it was a
meters
Leeds
away from
United
him.
100 meters team.
He's not even that fast over 100 meters, man. Bamford's faster than him over 100 meters.
Oh no, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's got a good 40-meter sprint on him, but once it gets longer, look, Bamford has a higher recorded top speed in the Premier League than Dan
Yeah,
James.
but that's
I'll put it that way. So,
because
well, that's just a recorded top speed. There you go. That's a top speed sprint over a long distance, my man, which is what I was saying. Once the stride gets going, but he's not a striker. And like I was saying to you, it's funny you brought it up about the Bamford thing and the hold-up. A few weeks ago, we were talking, and you're like, oh, this team creates bucket loads of chances. We just need someone that's going to be there and put the ball in the back of the net. This team is not creating any chances. I could see it from day one, man. Clear as day. Same problem we've had for the past 2 years. We don't create anything. We don't
Did you see
create
how many chances we created last night?
We didn't
Jack
create
Harrison
nothing.
dragged
We
what-
created
we
zero
did.
clear-cut chances. Zero
Did you
clear-cut
watch it?
chances.
Whoa.
Did you watch it?
Have you
What?
seen the stats? Zero clear-cut chances by their metrics, and I did watch it. And we had a few half-decent chances. Rodrigo had one which he could have clipped his foot onto. You had Harrison had one which the
Should have been
ball
a goal.
flicked through to him, which he
Should have been a goal.
he should have been a goal, but it was
Yeah,
still
Joffrey
not a
had-
full
Joffrey had two.
great
Brendan
great
Harrison had
chance.
one.
We don't
Yeah.
have anyone that's going to create space for us. We don't have anyone for the possession we had and for the amount of play we had deep in their third. You're telling me that's enough clear-cut chances? We didn't have any like standout chances that weren't from a little bit of fluke, like Joe Gelhardt, like the defender flicking it into his own path. We didn't
That
have
wasn't
anyone
fair
that
enough.
could control the game. We didn't have anyone that was specifically seeing a pass that no one else was seeing, was holding up space for others, creating something. When Bamford
The
plays,
ball to
his
Harrison.
hold-up play, the 7-8 assists he made in that year when he got 17 goals was almost as important as the 17 goals he got. Like I said, he brings everyone into the game. He holds up space. He creates space for others around him. It was congested in there. We had Everton sat back. We had no one occupying a defender. We had no one pulling someone out of position. We had no one creating anything for other people. We missed Bamford and we never missed Hernandez. And creatively, we still haven't solved that. So for you to sit here and tell me that we created a lot of chances against Everton is a complete myth with the amount of play that we had in their half.
To counter that, the chances that Harrison and Rodrigo had, for you to say should have been goals, means it's a clear-cut chance. If it should have been a goal, it is. If it should have been a goal, it's a clear-cut chance. So
The method of them, what, two chances? There's not a
Like
clear-cut
10 yards
chance. The
Yeah,
Harrison
but
one,
you're talking about a game against a team who spent 50 minutes on the floor, went down at every given opportunity. Every goal kick was a minute. The backs against the wall. We couldn't break them down because all they did defend, shit out.
yeah, but
And
why
you
could we not
expect us to
break them
create
down?
loads of chances against-
Why could we not create them down? Break them down.
Why-
It's Everton. They're
What do you
not
mean
a
it's
flipping
Everton?
prime Juventus,
playing
are
a
they?
league-
They didn't have Chiellini
Yeah.
marshalling the
They
back
play
It
in
doesn't
the
line.
matter
league
who it is
team
in the Premier League. If you've
play
got
like that and you
five
have
at the
to-
back, yeah, you're going to struggle, aren't you? Whoever it is, you're going to struggle against five at the back if you're not Man City. Like it's
Man
just the
City
way-
would struggle to break a League Two team down who play like that
They
all
don't
game.
have five
They
at the back.
wouldn't.
Yes,
No,
they
they
would.
wouldn't
Yes, they would.
struggle to break them
Yes, they
down. No,
would.
you wouldn't.
They'd
You'd have
score.
Kevin De Bruyne picking
score.
them apart for strings. What do you mean Man City would struggle to break down
Man
a
City
League
would
Two
score less
side?
goals
You
against
just
the
run
league.
in a straight line and bomble them all
No,
over, man.
No, Man City would score
City
less
would
goals.
carve them open. City
City-
against that Everton side yesterday would have carved them open
It's basic
6-7-0. It would have been another Liverpool Bournemouth.
Mm-mm.
Yes, they
City
would.
City had scored less goals against the League Two team playing like Everton did last night.
No, they
Again-
wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
No, they
Inter-
wouldn't. What
you go
statistical
like the
evidence
Let
do you
him
have to
finish
say
his
that
point.
City?
God.
Let him land. Come on. Let's see each other talk.
You gonna let me finish?
I'm just happy that I'm not the one getting
City
annoyed.
would
Oh.
score less goals against a League Two team playing like Everton did last night than they would against a Spurs or a Chelsea who play like they did against us. They would.
Spurs would
Because
counter-attack. That's a rubbish
It's
argument
harder
because
to- no,
Spurs
it's
would
not.
sit back more than anyone. That's how they play against all the big teams.
It's harder
They would
to play
struggle.
against-
They would struggle more to break down Spurs than they would a
Man.
League Two side.
it's harder to play against teams who play like that, like Burnley. Look how long Burnley survived in the Premier League playing like that. Look how long. Look how hard it was.
And City
Burnley,
used to smack them 5-0 every single time they played them. So there goes your argument on Burnley.
Did they?
Yes, they did. They notoriously
What, every
absolutely
single
wiped.
game?
Yes, every time they played Burnley, they whacked them 5-0. So
Yeah, but other teams have had a lot of success
I
doing
hear
it
what
as well,
Lou's saying, though.
like Wolves.
Yes,
The
but
Wolves
it's
Everton are the new Wolves.
on base.
They get ahead early on, and then they just waste time from about the 10th minute, and it's just awful to watch. If I was an Everton fan, I'd be disgusted that my team was playing like that.
But
It's so awful to watch.
But they don't have a striker, and to be fair to Lampard, and this is me saying this, and I can't stand it. But what I'm saying is, yesterday Lampard got it right. He's predominantly been playing with the back five. What he did yesterday is said, "Nah, I'm going to go with a 4-3-3, and they're all just going to get behind the ball." And if you look at that three-man midfield, literally Leeds United attacked down the middle. All you could see was pink shirts. And the only ball we had out was to Harrison. Harrison's getting a lot of stick, but he was our only real. I think he's been really, really good. I think he's taken an unfair shake for yesterday. He was the only one that looked like he was going to create something. You're asking, and this is my worry about this system, is like, we will struggle if against teams that are going to be down there. We'll just go, do you know what? Let's just pack out the midfield. Because what Chelsea did is tried to play, a double pivot with Gallagher, who doesn't play in a double pivot, and we absolutely overran them. But if teams are going to employ that sort of system that Lampard does, we will struggle. Like, he's played with the back five all season, and he went, nah, I'll go with the 4-3-3, and they'll all just be behind the ball, and we'll try and catch them on the counter. And that's how, and then we're asking players of the ilk of Dan James to come on and create something. We need ballers like Cini, like Aronson, like Harrison, like a Gakpo, to come on and have that extra bit of sauce, that can get us out of them. So now listen. Anyway, it was shite last night, I think. Anyway, I think it was terrible. We should be beating Everton. That's facts.
I think that's our issue. Is one of the things that we're going to struggle with is just breaking teams down who do sit like that. I think when a team comes to play us, or like Chelsea, who thinks they're better than us, they overestimate themselves, and then that's what leaves space for us to actually attack. And teams who do come and sit in, they're just going to be. It's going to be awful to watch, but they're probably going to do well against us because we rely on having less possession, to be honest, because we're all about winning the ball from the press and attacking from it. And so when another team has less possession than us and we have the ball all game, we're like, oh, what am I going to do now? So it's something that we definitely need to work on, trying to break teams down.
Does that not highlight our lack of creativity, that sides think that they can just sit back and hit us on the counter-attack every time? Is that
that's
not,
why you
not
like
saying
Sinistera?
So what are you saying? What are you saying though there with that, JT? What are you saying we should do to rectify that?
We should either get a striker that can hold up the play and bring others into the game and has the creative tendencies of Patrick Bamford, who, like I said,
Adams or Hwang Hee-chan.
Not like a Che Adams, and Hwang Hee-chan is not on that level, my son. So if you're going to get a top forward like a Cody Gakpo in, or a top creative midfielder.
But bro, on the Cody Gakpo thing, that profile of striker you've just mentioned, Cody Gakpo's not similar to Bamford as Che Adams or even Hwang could be.
No. But at this current moment in time, I wanted a creative midfielder as well, but we didn't go out and sign one.
So
that's what I'm saying. But now the only chance we have is to just throw quality at it, and someone that can give them another thing to work at.
Not a creative midfielder, no.
Not in the role that I need, not in the role that I want. He's a good creative midfielder in that he's a good dribbler. No. Someone, because he plays wide a lot. I want a Pablo Hernandez, someone that can control the game down, someone that can see a pass no one else can see. Which is a very few and far between. But Aronson for me is not that kind of player. Aronson's more of a dribbler. He's more of someone that's going to get the ball forward, and he has got a good eye for a pass. I'm not saying he doesn't have a good eye for a pass.
He is creative in his own way as well, because he did sort of create that chance for himself and get the assist. But we just, our biggest thing, I think the biggest thing as well between top teams and lower down the table teams is how clinical you are at finishing. And the top teams, if they get the chances that we had last night, the one that Joffrey had that Pickford was able to save, the one that they blocked and stuff, like top teams, they score those goals and they finish that game 2-1, 3-1, which it could have easily been. But it's worrying that we didn't score again because they nearly scored and Rasmus had to block it off the line. So it's like, if we don't take advantage of the chances that we make, teams could easily just come back against us. And that's what you need a good striker for. That's what you need a new striker for.
I don't think we lack creativity in the midfield at all.
I don't either, to be honest.
I don't. I mean, we've got Harrison. You've got look at the pass Finney played last night.
So we created enough chances that game for you.
Mate,
to win it, yeah.
I think we created enough chances to win the game.
If you play an attack versus defense drill in training and you have half an hour and you can only break down a team a couple of times, then your manager's absolutely screaming at you.
We had 5 or 6 chances to score.
You're acting like we didn't create any good chances. Yeah, we didn't score. Rodrigo should have scored. Harrison should have scored. If Harrison takes a touch and drills that bottom left, it's in. It's only because he shoots first time and panics. The ball to Harrison was unreal. Whether it was intentional or it was just a hit and hope, I don't know. The ball to Rodrigo and Rodrigo.
The ball to Harrison was deflected into his path.
But it was still.
It was not an unreal pass. The pass was going nowhere near him, and it flicked off the defender's legs and went into his path.
That's what I'm saying. So the ball was fired across goal. I didn't know whether it was intended. I haven't watched it back. I haven't even watched it.
It was a regular cross into the box, and it flicked off the defender's legs and went into his path. That was not an unreal pass.
Should have scored. And it's still a chance created some way or another, whether it's deflected or not, still a chance created. The Rodrigo run and the ball to him, that should have been a goal.
The Rodrigo one,
What do you want? What do you want? You want us to create chances, and then when we create a chance, you go, it's poor defending.
No, we didn't. I said we should. What do you mean? What do I want? What you literally said you didn't even see it, and you said it was a world-class pass to put him in there. It was not a class pass. That was the defender setting them up. Joe Gelhardt's chance was the defender flipping, nutmegging himself and giving it to him and passing it to him.
That chance where...
And this whole season we've had lack of creativity.
Oh my God.
We just beat Chelsea 3-0, man.
Okay, aside from the Chelsea game, Southampton.
JT's on a mad one.
Southampton.
We should have been 4 up against Southampton. Just because we didn't score.
First half, we barely did anything, man. First half, the best chance we had was Dan James ripping a long shot.
If you're going to tell me we're not clinical enough, I agree with you 100%.
No, I said we didn't create any chances in that first half against Southampton. Dan James taking a long shot was the only chance we had, but we had a lot of possession.
We should have been 4 up against Southampton.
What, in the first half?
No, just before they equalised, we should have been 3-4 up. That game should have been put to bed. We aren't clinical enough, but that's been a long running issue.
But you guys literally just said we have a problem when teams sit back against us.
You have a team because any team sits back against anyone.
But that's not a lack of creativity. Really. That's the way that Marsch's football is played. Marsch's football relies on getting the ball back in transition and attacking, and there's not that much of that goes on when you're sitting on the edge of the opposition's box for 60 minutes trying to break them down. Like it's slow, it's methodical. You've got to just look for our only outball was Jack Harrison because that pass from either Adams or Rocker, who I thought was brilliant yesterday. Ball was on every time to Harrison in that corner, and then Harrison would just think, well, there's nothing on for me here, so I'll win a corner or I'll cross it in. The one thing I do want to say, just talking about that, the corners.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were dreadful.
Couldn't beat the first man.
Yeah.
Are they taking the mick, not beating the first man? Like,
I almost got to a point, as stupid as it sounds, it felt like that was the plan. Because all the first man kept doing was booting it out. And it's almost like, all right, we just want to play on from a throw-in. Obviously, that's not the plan. But it got to the point where it did it so many times. It's like, do you just want to hit it at first man and get it booted out for a throw-in?
I think Marsch is...
corners as well.
I think Marsch, it's Mark Jackson, isn't it? I think they really favour front post corners is the issue. Yeah. Because we saw with Rodrigo's goal, the one that Strauch flicked on, and the free kick that Rodrigo scored against Chelsea, that they were all front post deliveries that are flicked towards the back post, whether that be actually going in or getting another player to get on the end of it. And I think that's the idea behind it. But Jack Harrison's delivery
were killer.
Yeah, but it's just I think that's the idea, to go front post, but then it's not going to work if you keep hitting it at the front man. You need to at least.
You can see that. Do you know what I mean? Like if the fans can see that, it ain't going to take long to be sussed out. I just think it's
last season as well.
Yeah. Like
Aronson on corners for me, Harrison on free kicks.
I think instead of having two of them on every set piece, you should just have Jack Harrison on the left hand side, because it's an in swinger, and Brendan Aronson on the right hand side for corners, and then just be done with it.
Aronson likes his outswingers though. He put some good outswingers in from the corner. What I did like as well was that Tyler Adams one. That was saucy. Drilled it all the way back to him. That was close. No, but the drill back to Adams and then that cross in. I don't know how Llorente didn't get his head on that one.
The Chelsea, like Adams, just to talk about Adams for a minute, like the Chelsea game was unreal for him.
But prime Kante.
Yeah, in the game that he played last night, completely different game, and I'd argue much harder to play for him. Again, like two different sides of the coin to see him play.
Like a boba.
Repeat that. Go on, repeat that.
What did he say?
Don't worry.
What did he say?
It won out bad, though. You know.
Because midfield is like awoke.
You're not getting them demonetized. It was just really bad. It was so gone. But it got me so fair play. But to see you can play both them sides of like the game in a very difficult game, which we played last night, and then obviously an open and enjoyable game against Chelsea, more or less, because we just had that freedom to play in full swing. He's different gravy, man. And then
I like what you did there. I like that, bro.
It did come and then he's an OG. He's been a fanboy since day.
I was heartbroken when they ditched my boys. What can I say?
But then, accompanied by Rocker as well. You talk about creativity in the midfield. He's probably one of the most creative. Obviously, I know he's defensive midfielder, but his creativity and the passes that he sees sometimes.
He's got an absolute ping on him, hasn't he? Yeah. And sometimes you get frustrated with players who play in holding midfield because they tend to go sideways and backwards a lot. But you can see that every time Rocker gets the ball, he does look forward first, and he thinks, if there's nothing on, then he goes back again, which is fair enough because you don't want to just give the ball away for the sake of it. But he does look forward at all times.
But that's the perfect DM pairing though. Like you always have one that's more attacking. And one
this is what I said when they came in, wasn't it? You've got the destroyer and the distributor.
Yeah.
Like,
boys, can I ask you, like, the transfers? Yeah, we're gonna, because obviously I'm conscious of time as well. Like, we've done the transfers, we're gonna move and look ahead to Brentford. But how are your thoughts with the start to the season? Like, overall, consider it all. Transfer window, results up to this point. What's your current mood? I'm pissed off, me, because I think it could be so much more, man.
Yeah, come on.
Well, not so much on results,
though. Okay,
that's the difference between us and the top teams, isn't it?
Do you know what? No, we're not even going to take transfer and window out of it, right? We'll leave transfer. I'm buzzing, me. And if anyone says they're not buzzing, that's wrong. And I'll say why that's wrong. You're
telling me my opinion now.
Yeah, I'm telling you you're wrong. And this is why you're wrong, right? Yeah. Marsch has transformed the team. He's made it his team for a start. Whether we haven't got a striker in, that's a whole different debate. Fair enough. Like you can say we need a striker, you can say Rodrigo's the wrong, we don't need a striker, whatever. We've had that debate, we don't need to have it again. We all have our own opinions on whether we need a striker or not, that's fine. But the players that Marsch has brought in, Aronson, Cine, Rocker, Adams, like, he's made that his team. Last season, it was still Bielsa's team. The system wasn't implemented properly. It was all a bit of a mess. All the job was to keep us up, and he did that. And then He's made the team. He's implemented this system. You can see it growing game by game. We beat Chelsea 3-0. We didn't even beat one of the top six, the big six last season. So we've already checked that off the list. We've got 5 more points now than at this point last season. We're fifth in the league. In reverse fixtures last season, we drew against Wolves at home. We beat them. We lost against Southampton away. We drew. We lost against Chelsea. We beat them. All these things, man. And if you're not buzzing, we were 5 games ago. We were a goal away from being in the Championship. You've got to look at it like that. 5 games ago, we were a goal away from being in the Championship. And we are now 5th in the league with a new team that's gelling well. It's going to be an up and down season. You're going to have good results. You're going to have memorable, historic results. You're going to have awful results. You're going to have bad days. That's how it's going to be all season. And I think we are going to finish sort of 10th, 14th. You're going to have a couple memorable results. We've already had one of them. And it's just going to be a nice season, man. No worries, no sort of...
No worries. We haven't got a fit striker. I think there might be worries.
No worries in terms of going down. I don't think
looking.
so. I think we've got too many points creativity-wise where we're going to get goals from.
Right. Well, it'll be distributed, won't it, throughout the team as well? Like, it won't just be a striker scoring all the goals because we haven't really got one whilst Bamford's not 100% fit. So all we can hope is that Sinisterra chips in with a couple of goals, that Aronson chips in with a couple of goals, that we just spread it out throughout the team like we usually have done before with Harrison and Rafinha were getting the goals and we didn't really have a striker last season. So hopefully it spreads out. But I think the best thing is that when you look at the start to last season, we didn't win a game for ages. And it was like, it's the confidence factor. These players will be thinking, we've lost 1 in 5. Like, the confidence will be up here at the moment.
And that was at the Amex as well. We haven't won at the Amex for 10 years.
God, bloody fortress, that Amex, let me tell you, man.
That is.
Bloody fiercest stadium in Europe, that one.
It's a whole different debate of, just because you haven't won at the ground in so long. Yeah, half glass full. Welcome to the half glass full.
Yeah, welcome.
No, to be fair, look, it's looking risky now. We need some serious quality in.
The striker and the left back is the only issue.
Yeah, but we dropped too many points, man, that we shouldn't have. We dropped too many points we shouldn't have, and now we're slipping down.
I do agree with that. Like we should have beaten Southampton. We could have got a draw at Brighton.
Should have beaten Brighton. Should have beaten. We should be. We should have won every single game right now. City aren't going to drop many more points. All right, but we have to be able to catch them. So if we can't afford to drop any more, you think City are going to drop 7, 8 more points and allow us back into the title race?
By the way, this might upset you, Joe, right?
I love you, man.
And I know we played Man City and Liverpool in the opening 5, but right now we have a better start to the season than we did in Bielsa's first Premier League season. This is the best start to Premier League season we've had since we come back up. And I know we played obviously Liverpool first game of that season. Then we played.
What are you saying? Are you can I just clarify?
I'm not saying I am.
Wait! Let me clarify.
Just Joe, not Joe. Just.
Thank you for that, JT. Are you trying to tell me that you enjoy these first 5 games than the first season in the Prem?
No.
Okay.
This is what I was
enjoy it. But is it worth it for games like the Chelsea game?
Oh, this is some of the most enjoyable.
This is really exactly what I said. I might not have said 3-0, but if you go back out however many midweek fixes, I literally used the example of we are going to have a season where it's not going to be as entertaining football as under Bielsa. But
it's entertaining football, though.
It is now that system's growing. It is like it's good to watch.
How can you say it's entertaining, bro? When you're saying we don't create chances.
No, but otherwise it's still end-to-end game. Man. It's intense. It's quick-paced football. I think that we didn't create enough chances under Bielsa.
Get a chance to do that last night.
I didn't think we created enough under Bielsa either. I think we've had this problem ever since we lost Pablo, but that's a different story.
I don't. To answer your question, I don't think it's. I think I enjoyed that more only because it was the first season back, and obviously that first game against Liverpool, you're like, oh, hold on, and I think everybody were like that. Whereas now, I don't think the football is as entertaining, but it's entertaining still. last season was a mess. That end of that season, and everyone's talking about Marsch and it's not going to work. That wasn't his system. It was what was left of the Bielsa team and that system. It was clinging on. It was all over the place. It was Bielsa's team. Marsch was just kind of hoping it all worked out, and it did. He kept us up by the skin of our teeth. Now, obviously, he's made it his squad. His system's implemented. It's growing game by game, and it is entertaining to watch. But it's not as entertaining as under Bielsa. I won't hear that.
I think it's a different kind of entertainment for me.
Yeah,
like with Bielsa, you'd have sweeping moves that went right from the back right to the front in seconds, and we'd score, and you'd just be like, "Oh my god!" But
sweeping.
there is also also that factor with this team, with the way that Marsch wants them to play. It's almost like a shock factor of, oh my god, someone's just flown into a tackle, got the ball back, and bang, we're already in the box having a shot, and it's like 100 mile an hour, and you're like, oh my god, and that is exciting as well. Some of the other aspects of the game aren't as exciting. You don't get beautiful flowing passing moves, but you get somebody going bang, winning a tackle in midfield,
that's and then literally what I'm going to say,
passing it into Sinistera. Sinistera cuts inside, and you've already scored within 5 seconds of getting the ball back, and you're like. So to me, that is also exciting. It's just, I think it's comparing apples and oranges. No one's ever going to be the same as Bielsa in that sense, but it. Like,
no, I didn't start comparing it.
As well.
There was one guy that started.
All I was going to say is, even though it's, in my opinion, it's lesser entertaining football than Bielsa, I will absolutely take that. If we're going to have a coasting season where there's not really any worries in terms of going down and it's sort of mid-table and you get them results against Chelsea, you get a result against Scum and all this. And I think that's the season we're going to have. I hope that's the season we're going to have. I'd rather have just a calm. Obviously, I want to go for Europe, but
we'll be in Europe.
Unless you're JT, Europe is not a realistic target.
No, we should be. Europe's minimum. Europe's a minimum. We should be on a title charge.
Okay, jokes aside, though, right? Seriously, jokes aside, 2-3 years. Shut up, man. 2-3 years. Kind of trying, but now just focus on not being down.
Could you argue that it's more entertaining than Bielsa? Could you argue that
in terms?
Just the football.
Throw this in.
Just the football. You know, when did we ever smash Chelsea 3-0 under Bielsa?
I'm not even gonna. My man's let's not even go there, boys. I am conscious.
That actually hurt me to say. I'm not gonna lie.
What are you conscious of time for? What are you conscious of time for? Do tell us. You want to do a Premier League live stream?
Yeah. I've got.
Of which game? Of which game?
All 5.
Oh, right, yeah. So you want to be watching non-Leeds over talking to the boys about Leeds on a Leeds United fan channel?
I get shouted at by some fans.
L's in the chat. L's in the chat from the toy, from the middle-aged books.
He's a Bielsa fan, to be fair. So what do you expect?
He's a Bielsa fan, not a Leeds fan.
I've had that levelled at me in the past as well. Don't worry about that. Let's look ahead quickly then to Brentford at the weekend. Tough place for us to go normally. However, last season survived there. How do we see the game going? And I want some thoughts and score predictions. Who's going to lead the line, Max?
Ooh. I don't think Bamford will start because he just doesn't seem like he's fit enough yet. So maybe Joffy might start up top.
I think it'll be James, you know.
It could be, yeah. The thing is, I think the end of last season, when we stayed up, I think you have to throw that out the window for this one. That was a complete one-off game. If we'd have played them there mid-season, we'd have lost. It was because of how much it mattered and how much we needed to win that game that we were. So I think that one has to go out the window. And it's still going to be a very tough game. They're decent. They are very decent. As much as none of us really like Thomas Frank, he's a good manager and he's got them set up. They know what they're doing. They're an organised team. Look at how they just took apart Man United, who obviously they're not great Man United, but they've got some of the best players in Europe because that's just how much money they've got. Brentford dismantled them. So we need to be wary of them on the counter-attack. But we do have it in us to get a result here. But I think we might draw.
Okay. JT, thoughts?
Thoughts? Well, first of all, lineup wise, there's one thing that needs to change, and we will get a win if we change this. Put Cock and Strike centre backs. All right, because I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
who are
how
you
we
going to play
didn't.
left back, bro?
I don't know, but I don't know how we're not talking about this. But the amount of times Llorente has fallen
he's
asleep
gash.
and cost us is getting ridiculous now.
He
I
did
mean, I don't know what the
step-overs
hell he
for the
was doing
game.
for that. Yeah, what's he doing for the goal? What's he doing?
He
He's
made
doing
himself.
flipping step overs. Just clear it with your left foot. No, he goes with his right foot, does a flipping little step over and passes it to him.
He should have just put it into touch. I don't know what he was doing.
The guy's on sleeping pills.
Dallas is back in training. I mean, it won't be obviously this game, but a few games time, if he's back before Firpo, that conversation's got to come up.
No, that conversation is not coming. Firpo's playing. But yes, no. So you're putting Cock and Strike at the back for me, and Hjeld left back if he's fit. Or your shoehorning drama or Rasmus there.
Gakpo scored a hat-trick.
Parting gift.
Gap trick.
How is Southampton going to sign him, man? They're such a whack club, man.
I don't think
honestly,
I don't think it's done yet, man. I mean, look at Chelsea agreeing the fee for Raf, and then he goes Barca. Doesn't mean no. The agreement
but they have to do it by today. They have to do it by today.
Yeah, man. A few hours
and
left.
What,
man,
Dan James is going to go tonight, and then we're going to.
Orr will be in the office now, like walking back and forth. Like, can we just give him this third?
They'll be ringing Gakpo personally and wonder why he's not answering. He's scoring a hat trick, mate.
Scoring a hat trick at the moment, mate. After ringing back in half an hour. Yeah, I mean, Orr will be on a private jet there, man. Right now.
I think
it'll be in the stands.
I think for me, Llorente's almost giving me Kiko vibes in terms of I get scared when he's near the ball now. Do you know what I mean?
It was bad.
It was bad.
Really bad.
But he falls asleep constantly, man.
Yeah,
his positional awareness, and then he'll make a stupid foul.
One good thing though is that I feel like Robin Koch has come on leaps and bounds this season, actually getting consistent time. In the
He's really
team.
grown on me.
If he gets a solid defensive partner, that could be really, really good. Because I've always thought that he just needed a good run of games in the team and he'll be class. Because Freiburg seem to be able to produce decent defenders on a regular basis, and the latest one is that Schlotterbeck, who's supposed to be very good. But obviously, Robin Koch, we got him for a cut price.
Schlotterbeck.
All right, Mr. Learn how to say the kettle and then just use the pronunciation.
I know, right? Lewis, would you be happy with the point of the weekend?
Yeah, I'm happy with the point at any away game.
What?
Every away game.
Yeah.
I don't care if we're much better than them or whatever. Like away games, you get points. Home games, you win. Like that's just the you brought up thinking that. And that's just always how I've been like, all right, if we get a point away, great, and you should be winning your own games. So against it, but Brentford,
dead food.
I think. I don't know.
First of all, Lewis, I do have to apologize to you. I will hold my hands up. I'm a man, and I'll hold accountability.
Brighton.
Yeah, I'll apologize. I have to apologize to you.
Someone actually tweeted us, didn't they?
I have to apologize to you.
Mm-hmm.
You were right. I was wrong. I still think we got a better squad than them, but you were right, and they did us over.
Anyway, tell us something we don't know, man. we knew this. We've debated it twice, and they just are a better. I worded it wrong though, so I'll apologise back. Man for man, man for man. We had our wires crossed a little bit. Man for man, I do think we are better. But as a unit, I think they're better. That's what I was trying to say. Like, I think
I watched Oscar his post match, and he said like their project's like 3 years in now, so you can understand like us in 3 years. Totally different conversation, isn't it?
Like in terms of Europe and being sort of 10th, 9th, 8th, and sniffing around it, I think you're talking this 2-3 year plan that Marsch already mentioned at the back end of last season, which I wasn't very happy about because it was
no,
2
definitely
days
not.
before we were due to play Brentford and could have been in the Championship. So him talking about creating world class players and all this, it was a bit like
Got a set of knackers on him though. I need to say that then.
Yeah. I mean, in general, he has, and he's growing on me a lot in terms of that.
Oh, I love him, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, I do.
Yeah, I was talking to a few people around me.
Never thought I'd hear that.
Oh, seriously, I do, bro.
A few people around me at COP really don't like him. They think he's up himself and all this. But I think you can see it like that 2 ways. He does like the limelight. Can't deny that he does. But it's in a way that he knows it annoys who he wants to annoy. He knows that him stood
Most
there.
Most of it's for a reason, isn't it?
Do you not like arrogance though in that sense?
That's what I mean. It's an arrogance that's sort of shithousery arrogance, which it's always aimed at like a ref, but not in a way that would get him fined, or it's aimed at another manager, like the Tuchel stuff saying, "Oh, he shouldn't be here. He should be suspended. He shouldn't be able to appeal." I love that.
Mind games,
I love that. Yeah, I love that. And then after the game the other day, straight up stood there talking about all the time wasting. Lampards there talking in if buts and maybes. Marsch stands there and is like, it's an entertainment.
I'm talking facts. I'm not talking.
It might be
babies. I'm talking absolutes.
It might be an American thing because Tyler Adams said it as well.
I love that banger, by the way. It's the top tune.
Tyler Adams after the game was saying how he hated the time wasting as well, and maybe it's just an American thing to just be totally honest in those interviews and just say, look, the time wasted from the 20th minute is a joke, and actually just say what they feel, which I like, to be honest.
Lampards, they're like, oh, I don't understand it. I think it became a bit of an obsession, and then the bench got onto it, and then the crowd got onto it, and it was a bit of a side issue, and I didn't really understand it. It was strange. I'm like, what are you on about? Conor Cody come out and said, oh, they didn't like what we were doing, but you've got to manage the game. So one of you essentially said, yeah, we were time wasting, but that was the game plan. And then the manager's gone, I don't know what they're on about. Just stand there and admit you came with negative tactics. You wanted to break the atmosphere down. You wanted to make it frustrating, and that's how you were going to get a result. They came for a point. If he'd have stood there and said that, I'd have respected him more. But he stood there, and he always has to make it. He always has to just stir it that little bit more. And I can't. Do you know what? Part of me really wanted to sort of give him the benefit of the doubt one day. Once he left Chelsea and all the stuff had gone, I thought, right, it could be an up and coming English manager, whatever, and they were lacking in them. So after the whole Derby stuff and the early Chelsea stuff, I was like, all right, one day maybe, but he can't let it go, man. He just loves. But in the same way, Everton fans probably love that he's a bit of a shithouse as well. Like we like it in Marsch. So, but obviously we're not going to like him, and I don't think I'll ever like him. He's just
no.
Yeah,
I mean, let's get some score predictions. JT, you go first.
I think we should absolutely.
Serious from
we should no. I think we should beat them.
Okay.
Give me a score prediction.
But I don't feel any confident in a clean sheet anymore. And ironically, the only time I wasn't confident in a clean sheet was Chelsea, which is the one we got. So I'm going to have to go ahead and say 3-1. 3-1.
Leeds United.
3-1, yeah. Sinister will bag a brace, I think. Sinister will bag a brace. He's going to get going now. 3-1 Leeds. Should be
3-1.
comfortable.
Love that. Max?
I think before this week, I was thinking that I'd be happy with 4 points from these two games, but I really thought it was going to be a win against Everton and a draw against Brentford.
Yeah.
And I said before that I think we'll draw against Brentford, but I think we might sneak a win, I think we're going to win 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Lewis?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. I don't think it'll be pretty. I think we're going to have to play a bit more negatively if we want the win. And look, I slated Everton for playing negatively, and now I'm saying I want us to play negatively. But it's not that I want us to play negatively. I just think we're going to need to. I think we're going to need to get a win there.
I don't want us to play negative. Just play negative. I want us to play, and I don't want us to play.
I don't want us to play negatively. I never want to see us play negative football. But I think we're going to need to play that way to get a result there. Like Everton went there and got a draw the week after the battered Man United 4-0. Yeah, so. True. Do you know what I mean? I think that's how we're going to need to play. And I do think we could sneak a win. And I haven't predicted a win yet, so why not? 2-1 Leeds.
Okay. That's the kiss of death, the fact that you've never predicted a win.
Well, I predicted a loss against Chelsea. I predicted a loss against Chelsea and we won 3-0.
I'm not so confident. They're a good side. But we should get something for sure. If we get a point away from home, it's all good, isn't it? It's all good.
Start.
Yeah, fantastic start, mate. There was a stat today saying that only 2 teams who've got 8 points after the first 5 games have ever gone down. So I think we're all right. I think we're good. I think we all think we're good. Anyway.
Why would you say that, man?
What's all on Twitter, man? The square ball.
We're not going down. What, you think we're in trouble of going down?
No, I don't, mate.
No team who was ever top of the championship at Christmas didn't go up. And then
we went up, man. We went up.
I will dye my hair pink if we go down, all right? I'll put it that way. And shave everything off. All right. What's your scores, Joe? What's your score?
Oh, you're going to make me do it.
Yeah, I thought you were getting away with that one.
Yeah, I did. Hard fought 1-1 draw. Hard fought 1-1 draw.
Go down or go 1-0 up?
No, I think we might lose, actually, 2-1.
Oh, bloody hell, man.
I think we might lose. I think we might lose. I think we might lose Ivan Toney. I don't know if is Canos still there. He better not still be there.
Gone, I think.
Does he? If he's there, I don't know. It's going to be tough. They're a good side. And the thing is with Thomas Frank, he'll have a plan for how he expects us to. I think he might spoil, and then we might struggle. But listen, we won down there last time, so let's do it. I hope we do beat him. But yeah, I am going to need to leave it there, guys. We always chat for ages. I do apologise. We have done an hour and 5 minutes, though.
Sold his soul. Boo.
How much sold my soul? Stop saying this, man.
And I'm scared to look at the comments to this one.
What?
I don't care, man.
There was a big debate earlier.
Not for you, not for you.
Tony O'Shea, man. Tony O'Shea backing us to lose again. You can tell my man's never watched me before. This is what I'm saying, because you don't know. You don't know. You genuinely don't know. Bro.
You don't know. Get to know.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't know where I'm from, dog.
You're late to the party. You're not an OG. You're not an OG. Although I do believe
you're not an in-full swinger.
Yeah, a little bit of my heart when Biel's around, and I just see things differently now.
There needs to be a midweek fix bingo, by the way, for when JT says senior Furpo. For you don't know where I'm from, dog.
When I bring up Bielsa,
yeah. When he puts the goggles on, when he mentions, when
I put the goggles on, I mean business. All right.
That's true. I need to shoot.
Whoa! Enough American talk on this show. All right. Well, it's been a good show, boys.
Yo, what's my man about? What? All of us thought we were going to get beat against Chelsea, Tony, man. You yourself.
QJT.
So don't
QJT. Yeah, well, who thought we were going to lose? Who thought we were going to lose, Joe? I don't know. You might want to rewatch the midweek fix. So that's all I'm saying.
Mark was added.
Phil Hayes
and Ollie, actually. Me and Ollie.
Let me just catch you. Phil Hayes tweeted out this second, folks. Said
Leeds signed Gakpo.
Understanding with Dan James is that his preference has been to stay at Leeds, but the club haven't shut the door on him leaving in the way they did with Jack Harrison. Want to watch us Leeds go after Gakpo. In other words, the club want James gone, but he wants to stay. It is what it is, and they'll be happy not to spend any money, so it is what it is. Right, we're going to leave it there because I need to shoot and get ready for tonight's stream. Listen, there's like 500 people. If you want to watch tonight's stream, you do. I understand some of you are like, why are you watching over clubs? You're not allowed to watch over football clubs ever. But if you want to join me and we can continue this chat, you can do, all right? Follow JT that way. Follow Max, follow Lewis. All their channels are in the title of this video. So go on over and check them out. We will be back next Wednesday as well. Make sure you check it all out. They're all top lads. I love each and every one of them. And that's it.
Big night of football coming up.
Yeah, big night of football.
Liverpool, Newcastle, going to be a good one.
Yeah, it will be actually.
6-1 to PSV, by the way.
Is Gakpo scored again?
No, I don't think so.
He scored 4 goals. He scored 6 goals. Oh my god!
Right, boys, I really do need to go. Bye, audience. See you later.